I rise, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for recognizing me to make some comment after 22 years, with today being my last day in the Assembly. You know, I've been playing this game with myself about how could it actually have been 22 years. I don't know about the rest of you. How could it be 2024 already? And I guess I thought in playing that game back to when I first got here. I was one of those mayors who believed in marriage equality, and even though it kind of wasn't the law yet, would at least solemnize those unions. And I got here and I put that bill in as the first bill, that marriage equality would be the law of the state. And Assemblywoman Loretta Weinberger looked at me and said, "What are you, radical?" And it just goes to show you, because from there we went to civil union and then, of course, to full marriage equality. But I would bet, and I don't speak for all of you, that the vast majority of the 80 of us that sit here would agree with that 22 years later. I remember going into, Applebee's with my kids and coming out smelling like a chimney, and certainly my favorite Irish pubs. And again, we had with much ceremony, bars are going to close, restaurants, this will be bad for business. And again, I bet there wouldn't be one of you now that would be sponsoring a bill to bring smoking back in public places like bars and restaurants. And I guess speaking of smoking, 22 years ago, we put somebody in jail if they had a joint or bet on a football game. You know, need I say more? So I guess 22 years really has passed. A lot of all of you reflected on the things that are just so essential to being in this body. The first of which, of course, is our own personal staff members. I've been blessed over these years to have so many amazing young men and women. One of them now serves as a chief of staff to one of our colleagues. Another actually is the deputy chief of staff to the President Biden. Another runs the executive director of the Newark Housing Authority, one of the biggest agencies of that sort in the nation. They're respected lawyers and lobbyists, but there's one in particular that's been with me now for 10 years. He came in as an intern. He believes in the orthodoxy that we all legislate with. And I've never been blessed with a son, but if I had one, I wish it to be you, Alex Kaiser, so thank you. Relative to the majority staff, and it was beautiful how Taya before was honored by John, and I think the world of her as well. I couldn't name all of the individuals for these 22 years. I'm laughing at Gabby and Troy because they were staffers when I got here, and now have gone on, of course, to serve in this legislature. I think of all of those that have gone on to the AG's office, the governor's office, and places of high authority. And all of those who's actually stayed here to bring continuity and the institutional knowledge that you have. But there's one in particular I want to mention, and that's Mark Iaconelli. You know, Mark has staffed 3 of my 4 committees, for the last 6 years now. He's intelligent, discreet and hardworking, and something that Mark probably didn't share, none of you know, his little boy, AJ, had some real significant health problems to deal with. And Mark never missed a beat, never missed a deadline, was always there, and would have never even mentioned it but for my asking. So, Mark, you're stereotypical of the amazing people that are down here. And you're a little old to be a son, but love you as well. And I guess that third category is the Office of Legislative Services, right? Now, it's never good to stereotype, but aren't they all the same? Aren't they all, cerebral and understated and dedicated? They remind me of like park rangers or librarians, right? But they're amazing, and they're really the backbone and the core of all the things that we do. And my friend Carrie Calvo, again, after 25 years in the environmental section, who was involved in all kinds of landmark legislation, is retired. And to her and to everybody in OLS, thank you to them. I want to mention our families. Now, my family isn't here. I'm going to be lucky that they will be down here tomorrow. But this isn't about my family. It's about all of our families. You know, when we go into elected office, we learn very soon that if we wanted adulation, we should have learned how to play the guitar. We could cure a disease, and within 5 minutes, the haters would be on the screen saying they must have been sick. And that's just the way that we deal with it. We deal with it because we're big boys and girls, and we understand that's an occupational hazard. But you know what? To our families, the people that really love us, the people that know the time we put in, what we're motivated by, it hurts them the most. And so for that hurt and for all the time that we spend away from them on weekends and in the evenings, thank you to them. And to all of my colleagues, let me tell you a few things I'm going to miss saying. Joe, Roy, would you just vote for it? I'm going to miss saying, Murph, do you have an extra pen? I'm going to miss Jay. I sent it to the committee on whatever the heck it is. It's there. I'm going to miss getting a text from Ileana that says, Worth is at it again, please go at him. Only kidding, Hal, you know that. But you're amazing people, really all of you. And I've so enjoyed our private conversations about policy, which are sometimes better than what we can do in public because of our roles. I've enjoyed learning about all of your families, and you're all extraordinary people, and that part of things I'm going to miss you and congratulate you on all the great people you are. So I have a question for everybody. Why is it that you went into public life? I want to tell you a little bit about my story in that regard, and I want you to think about yours. I've got proof. I was here the first time in the state capitol when I was in the 5th grade, back when they had a press corps. They interviewed the kids that were here, and it said, Senate plays to a young gallery. God bless my mother. She rest her soul. She saved the article. And it's got a quote from a guy named John McKeon who says, I want to be a lawyer and grow up to be an elected official. Now, that's the desire I had as proof, but why? My father, who is a son of an Irish immigrant, who is the toughest man I've ever met in my life, I saw him cry just once. And that was when I was 5 years of age and President Kennedy was laid to rest. My grandfather, who was an Italian immigrant, was a house painter. He would show me buttons from FDR that he would keep and just waxed eloquently about how, because of FDR and the New Deal, he was able to get his family through the Depression. And my thought was, God, if the two men in the world that I love and admire the most care so much about these men that they never met, well then, my God, being an elected official is an honorable thing to do and worthwhile way to spend your life. So again, I don't know what all of your stories are, but I know what we do is honorable and worthwhile. And please just know what a gift we have. A gift being among just a few people in a state of 9 million that has the opportunity to impact the quality of life, for the most part, of people that will never know our names. But they need us. When back to the 22 years ago, where's Herb? 26 years, right? Lou is at 24. Joe, 22, like myself. Sean Kane, I know we went to the Senate back and forth, 22. Brian, 21. We're hotshots. We came in with these flip phones, and they had these big antennas on them. And if we had a computer on our desk, it would be a bulky, basically, word processor. So I guess 22 years did pass because now, all of the knowledge of humankind is stored on something about the size of the head of a pin and put in a device where we can call up in a moment any of that information on what we hold in our hand. But yet with all the changes, and certainly the technological ones, our challenges are never more profound. And so all of us have this amazing, incredible gift of this responsibility that we need to focus on. And so I've shared with you all in the past that I'm not the most religious person, but I do pray for wisdom. And I'd like to do that now for all of us, for all of us who are here, all of those in the future that will, fill these great seats in this amazing chamber. And wisdom, and in particular, the ability to think empathetically, see through the eyes of the constituents in discharging our duty. Now, I'm going to the Senate, but I tell you now, to me, that's just a lateral move. And my heart and soul will always be here in the Assembly. God bless you all.
Assemblywoman Lampert, why do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have written notes, but I'm going to improvise, I'm pretty sure. But I rise to express a fond farewell to my colleague and friend, Paul Moriarty. I don't know whether or not many of you know, but back in 2006, Paul and I, Tom Giblin, who else? Gary Scher, all came in together. And when the headlines read, a chef, a journalist, and a mortician, and not a lawyer or a doctor among them, we became, in our own way, famous because we were representative of the diverse community that we really served. And certainly, getting to know Paul, throughout the process was very entertaining at best. We've collaborated, Paul, on many issues, all of it really just, focused on the quality of life for our constituents and the quality of life for the people in New Jersey. And, I'd like to maybe share, a few idiosyncrasies of our good friend Paul Moriarty that everybody should keep a secret because everybody in the Senate should find this out for themselves. But after sitting next to him in the caucus room for umpteen years, if I had one piece of paper just crossing over his desk, he nearly had a fit. He was outraged that something of mine could cross over into his world. Well, I'm hoping the next person you sit next to finds humor in the way that you respond to these sort of idiosyncrasies. The other thing we all should know and remember about our good friend Paul is he is as basic about food as a 3-year-old. When he talked about earlier, sharing Gigi's chicken fingers, he wasn't kidding. When you travel with him and you go to Taiwan and you're in this wonderful capital that has food and they've got the famous dumpling place and he goes, I'm going to eat this? And he says it in front of everybody. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, you're going to eat this and you're going to be nice about it. And to his credit, he did try. He really did try. But he was anxious to get back to the hotel because there was a burger and fry place across the street. So my friend Paul also, he's an investigative journalist. So when he decided to be on Consumer Affairs, he did it with the passion that, that manifested inside of him during his earlier career being on TV. And I think that we have a lot to be grateful for the type of work that he did and the effort that he put in to making things safer, for the residents of New Jersey. be it something for children and whether or not it was safety or whether or not it was food safety, car safety. He ran the gamut on thinking about, from a consumer affairs perspective, what was going to be meaningful. He's a family man. He loves being at home. He's got a gorgeous backyard. Anybody been invited to his pool for a barbecue? I'm going to shake my head no, too. So he's a real family man, though, and he is so proud of his daughter, Megan, who has now followed in his footsteps. She has big shoes to fill, but, I think that she's well on her way, and her father is extremely proud of her. Yeah. And Chloe, his other favorite dog, he talks about a lot, and when he says, "Can I show you some pictures?" you say, "Sure," and you get pictures of Chloe as opposed to pictures of his family. But Chloe is family, and Chloe goes everywhere. So some few idiosyncrasies about our good friend Paul. But in all seriousness, one of the things that, again, that Paul truly loved and admired was his mother. And I'm sure many of us know that his mother passed away within the last 6 months. She was over 100. And as independent as Paul is, he got it from his mother because she continued to live in the house by herself. Paul's independence reigned even today, where what he decided to vote on is what he decided. He didn't care whether or not what others were doing. He just cared whether or not it was the right thing to do and whether or not morally it was going to be what he could stand for. I know you're going only to the next chamber, but the way that you can lighten up the mood and to bring humor, to our evening and to our day and to the work that you do will be missed. And we wish you much success in the Senate. And again, nobody should share his idiosyncrasies with the senators because they should all find it out for themselves. Paul, you did really wonderful things, and I know you're going to continue to do so. So thank you for my friendship. Thank you for, everything that you've done and everything you're going to continue to do.
Assemblyman Moriarty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Pam. Was that a tribute? I'm not sure. That could have gone much worse. I've probably said more politically incorrect things to Pam over the last 18 years than anyone else, and she could have repeated them, and I would be in trouble. But look, the night is late, and I know this isn't what we're here for, but I do want to say that representing the people of my district, of my community for the last 18 years has been the greatest honor of my professional career. It truly has. I'm sure many of you feel the same way about this great honor we get to represent the people in the people's house. And then getting to meet and work with such a diverse group of talented, smart legislators and staffers from all around the state. It's really been a wonderful experience, and I cherish it. I really do. But I'm not going far. I'm just going down the hall, and I'll be back here quite a bit. And because my heart is also here, as John McKeon said, I'll always be a member of the Assembly and feel this is my home. First of all, this is a much grander room than down the hall. Have you seen the Senate? It's like a side room or something. This is a room. We have a chandelier here, And by the way, the food is much better in the Assembly Majority Office than in the Senate, so go figure. So I will be back frequently to say hello and then sneak in the back for maybe a chicken leg or something. And I just want to remind you also, I'll be in the Senate. I'm looking to do business and help you with your bills. I'll be a reliable partner in the Senate, so bring your bills to me. I'd love to advocate for them in the Senate and get things done. I thank you for being gracious to me and for being friends and being collegiate. This is a great body. I will miss it greatly. I'll be back here often, and I thank you, and I thank the Speaker for all the opportunities he's given me, and our Majority Leader for all the help he's given me through the years, and I thank you all, and God bless you.